Well, hey there. How you doing out there? I am so excited today to share my conversation with you all. I could not even wait. I was just like, "Oh, this is going to be good." Now, I know I'm the one that's talking about this good discussion here called Single and Saved, the real conversation that nobody wants to have. Is true. And for those of you that know me and those of you that are just getting to know me, I want to welcome you to my platform. Welcome, 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 welcome. Now, today is going to be interesting. Usually, I just jump right in and I start talking, and I don't give people enough time to gather themselves. I want you to get your pad and your pen together if you can. If not, if you're riding in your car, I want you to tune in and listen in real good to what I have to say. And if you are not single, go ahead and share this with someone that you know that is in that single season and they are feeling lonely or questioning themselves about what's going to happen and am I going to die old and lonely and all of that stuff. Listen, this is the video chat for you, girl. And go ahead. If you are single, go ahead and put it into the comments section and say, hey, yeah, I'm single. I'm single. Put up there, I'm single. I'm single. I want to see that in the comment section. So today I'm going to bring a topic to you that is very dear to my heart. All right. I'm going to give you a little intro first before I really go into it. Several years ago, I had no idea that I would be in the posture and the position that I'm in right now. I was living the life. I mean, when I tell y'all I was living a life, I ain't bragging, but I was living a life. I was married to a guy who, had a couple of coins and I lived really good and decent. And I thought that, hey, I'm living the Cinderella story. This can possibly not turn into a nightmare, right? Because everything was just, in my eyes, so picture perfect. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about the whole relationship was perfect, but from my vision of what I thought a marriage would look like, I said, ooh, I think I got it. And I took even the bad stuff that went on and kind of like shoved it under the rug because I felt like, hey, at least I got a man. Isn't that what some of us say to ourselves? So this is not just for the women. This is for the men too. So go ahead. Come on, get on up in this room. Get on up in this room. Even your best friends, if you're married and you got some single men out there, friends, come on, let them know that it's going down right now. And generally, I don't do that. I just jump in and start hooting and hollering and saying whatever I need to say. But I feel like it's so important today. And also because of the fact that in a couple of weeks, on May the 30th, I will be one of the panel discussions on the panel discussion in Middletown, Delaware, at the church, Living Grace Worship Cathedral, where I fellowship. All right. It's going to be an awesome time to have a discussion. And you don't have to, if you don't want to, just get up and, talk about certain things. It's okay to go ahead and get that pen and paper and secretly put it in a box so that you can be able to get your questions answered, because it's not just going to be women up there talking about singleness. It's also going to be men up there having their own view of it. So for this one, I know I always say that most of the time my live streams are for the women, but this is for men and women this morning. You heard me. You heard me. I feel like when I woke up this morning, I was in my spirit. I was thinking about that song. I'm living the single life. I'm living the single life, y'all. How y'all doing out there? You living the single life? Because the single life, baby, it has some highs and lows. But I want to encourage you today, okay? So this is why I was like super excited about getting on today, even without my lashes. I did find my lashes. If y'all was following me on yesterday, I told y'all I couldn't find my lashes. But I found my lashes and then I lost one again. But anywho, I'm here. I am here and I am front and center. So today I am going to discuss 6 different I would say points on singleness. Now I'm going to hit you between the eyes with something that it blew my mind to even think about, okay? We all want to discuss the fact that, hey, if I'm single, I want to be in a relationship at one point. Maybe, some women who have just gotten divorced or separated is going through the process of just trying to heal. But I'm talking about those that's been in the street for a while. All right. I've been in these streets for a while as it relates to being single. And the first thing that came to my mind was, the people say it's not enough places to have a discussion, right? It's not enough singles that are gathering together. Well, this is the time for you. I want you to come and be a part of the fellowship with everybody that's going to be talking about singleness and Living Grace Worship Cathedral, where my pastor is Bishop Jeffrey Broughton and Overseer Dawn Broughton, okay? But this is me personally just bringing this invitation to you. But as some of you know, several years ago, I had written a book about singleness. And this is not a shameless plug for that. I'm just kind of bringing y'all into a space and place that you probably be like, girl, where does this girl come from? Like, who gives her, the credibility to talk about everything that she talks about? Listen, I got creds, all right? I got some seed in the ground. I have street creds because I've been through the fire and I've been through the flood. Honey, I've been broken into pieces, seen lightning flash from above. But through it all, I remember that he loved me and he cared. And he would never put more on me than I can bear. All right? That's straight up from Kirk Franklin. But I'm super excited. I'm hyped. Can y'all tell I'm hyped today? I am hyped, y'all. Listen, let me tell you, first of all, I got to thinking. A lot of people say they want to be in a relationship. But the thing that stood out to me was because I have tried to date and I have had many failures in it because people just wasn't ready, right? It's sad because people have Bible verses in their bio and they got trauma in their behavior. Oh, did I say that? Yes. I said that with my chest out. I said it with all my chest. God was telling me this morning to tell the people, stop putting these Bible verses in your bio and you got trauma in your behavior. Get it together. I said it. Get it together. All right, so the first point we're going to talk about, because I got 6 discussion points that we're going to hit real quick this morning. And the first one is, everybody says they want love. I want to be loved. If you ask somebody, well, what are you looking for in a mate? I want somebody that loves me. I want somebody who has this. I want somebody. But here's the thing. Are you ready for the commitment? Are you ready for everything that a relationship entails? Are you whole? People want companionship without accountability. It's hard dating in these streets in 2026. It's not a cakewalk because people are so they're not truthful about really where they are in their life. And that accountability, they don't want any accountability. Most of the time, people want to date you behind the scenes and they'll tell you this phrase, listen, we don't need to make it private. Well, we want to keep it private, but we don't want to put it out there and promote it in front of everybody right now because it's still fresh, it's still new. Meanwhile, this dude been talking to you for how many months? And you're still the secret. You're still the secret lover. That's not godly. And if you're a woman that is truly going after God's heart, we have to do things God's way. And men and women are always talking about how, they want marriage, but they're avoiding another thing, that consistency. Have you ever had someone, a potential, I won't even say a spouse, because when you are dating, you're just collecting data. You're just trying to find out about this person, but they're not even consistent. They're not consistent in their behaviors and how they show up for you. They're not consistent in sometimes the conversations. They're all over the place. They're not consistent with showing you that they are really interested in you. It is not consistent. So we have to ask ourselves, are we ready to really love? Do we really show up wholeheartedly ready to love? That's something you got to ask yourself. The other point that I wanted to say was situationships is always a disguise as supposedly purpose. But no, it's not purposeful. I had to write the stuff down because I was jotting down and thinking like, yo, it's real out here. The commitment that, they talk about commitment and they're not committed, not even to themselves. They're lying to themselves about being ready. I'm watching this show. Actually, it's on Netflix, and it's called Indian Matchmaking. And I found it quite interesting because of the fact that there's a matchmaker, and she asks the gentleman, what do he want? And she asks the woman, what does she want out of a relationship? And they got all these superficial things, not getting to the core of it. Now, I have to keep in mind that some of them aren't saved. They're not trying to do things the way that God created us to date and to engage with one another. But the gist of it is it's hard because people say they want relationships, but we're still out here in situationships. And that's not cool. It's not fair, especially if one has truly committed their heart, their soul, and mind to try to get to know that one individual. And they're out here with the whole smorgasbord, whether it be the man or the woman, they're still entertaining 55 people down the road. Come on, I'm telling you, dating in 2026 is not for the weak. If you are even in a place of being whole, it's difficult because you don't know the real intent of a person if they're not consistent and they have no accountability. If you have any comments that you want to share and you want to be like, girl, I know that's right, or you want to just give me your 2 cents, definitely put it into the comment section. Now, keep in mind, I ain't going to lie. I'm new with some of this technology that I got going on now because I'm trying to build, a better quality of my presentation and my branding. And sometimes I don't see the comments till after I get off of the lives. But I still want you to do that for me because I'm looking for those who have said, I'm tired of it too. I want realness too. I'm really trying to walk this walk of being saved, and walking in that path means that I am being in a position to take ownership of being consistent and having accountability. Because it's hard for people to be under someone who is telling them the truth about themselves. It's hard when you are an adult and you think you know everything, and we can all learn something new. That's why it's important for you to come on out and, be a part of the panel discussion about being saved and single at the same time. It's not an easy walk. Now, let me say this too. When I first started dating after I got my divorce, I didn't date out of wholeness. I was still in a lonely place. And baby, that's the wrong thing to do. Dating when you are in a place of being lonely, you will be gullible. You will fall for a hamburger and fry and just a soda just to have somebody in your company. Now, I know some of you women out there that are more, I would say, high class will be like, girl, I ain't going for a burger and fry. I mean, you just get the gist of what I'm trying to say. I'm saying that you will entertain people's company just so that you don't have to be lonely. Can I get some hands? Can I get some hands raised? Because I know I was one of them. I was taken to some fine dining places, but after a few minutes being there, I knew I wasn't interested because the conversation wasn't going in the right direction, or maybe I wasn't attracted to this person, but he didn't know it. And it's vice versa. I'm quite sure men do the same thing. This is why the conversations that nobody wants to have, honey, I'm your girl. I'm the truth teller. I will let you know that you're right, that it's not for the weak, that he was wrong, or she was wrong for how she treated you, because it's a two-sided coin. Men sometimes get the short end of the stick too, but I'm just kind of putting my little 2 cents in it today. You feel me? You tracking with me? So that's the first point that I wanted to talk about, was the fact that everybody say they want to be loved, they want it, but they're not ready. So you have to think about these things. All right, this is just some food for thought this morning to start you on your way. So if you out there, kind of like out in them streets and you're trying to decide if this is the season for you to try to get out there and date as a saved person, just use precaution and keep your eyes open so that you can truly see that you don't have to date out of loneliness. The first thing you should do is seek to get whole. I had to go on a journey. And let me tell you, it has taken me 10 years to get to this place where I'm at today. I was broken. I was bitter. I was hurt. I was disappointed. I had shame. I had guilt because I'm the type of person, if I start something, it could be anything. Going to school, fixing something in the house. I mean, lately, I haven't truly followed through with some of my tasks in the house. But I mean, you know where I'm going with this. I'm just the person that when I start something, I like to be a finisher. And me not getting to the finish line in my marriage, it really devastated me. Therefore, I had to pick up the broken pieces of my life and then start all over again. And I made sure that I was cognizant of the fact that I don't want to bleed on others and I don't want to walk into a man's life that is whole and I'm still grieving and I'm still burdened down. I don't want to get caught in that rat race. I want to be authentic when I show up. I want to be a person that can be a listener, a team player. I want to be able to lead as well as follow. But that is the issue. People say they want love, but are you really ready for that? That's a question you have to ask yourself. All right, the second one. Now, this one is a hot topic, which I have for the past 3 or 4 years that I totally have sworn off of it, is the technology of the dating sites. Because dating sites, it's just a highway of all these, I want to say, recycled people. And there are predators on there as well that prey on women or prey on men for different reasons. But nevertheless, technology has taken dating to a whole nother level. And I always would say that, it's like, if they don't like you from the door, you don't even get a chance because there's so many choices. It's like going into a candy store. You don't know which one to pick first, but all you know is you can get a bag if you would like to and throw it all in there and then just pick what you want. And that's, to me, that's what these social media sites as far as dating apps are like. You just don't know. Now, there are people who tell their love story and they say it worked out for them, but that's you. Now, for me, I haven't had that kind of blessing yet. So I'm just giving my point of view and letting you know what I had experienced and some of the things you probably have experienced too. So these Christian apps is, it's crazy because there's multiple conversations going on at the same time. People are DMing you or people are in your chats and they're interviewing you like they're interviewing everybody else. They got these secret lives through social media and you don't know what's truth and what's not. Let me park right there and kind of add this little memory. I remember this time I had met this gentleman and I mean, he said all the right things. Y'all been there? All the right things. And I like a man that dressed really nice, right? I like a man in a suit and tie. I like that he smelled real good too. Oh my God, he smelled so good. But his character could not keep him where I wanted to go. That's why I said earlier, it doesn't matter if you have a Bible verse, in your post, right? It don't matter if you got it on your social media platform. You can have all the Bible verses you want, but that trauma in your behavior, it stinks up the place. Therefore, you got to be careful and you have to keep your eyes wide open. And this is the reason why you should never date when you're lonely, because you will fall for anything. And I've heard many people say, whether it be male or female, yeah, it was at a low time, man. They caught me at a low time. They caught me when I was desperate. How many of y'all been caught off guard? I know I have. I've been caught off guard. But then when I got myself together, I realized, oh, okay, this person is going through a lot. And now with me understanding the psychology of family, right? Not just from the point of view of mother, father, sister, brother, but looking at it through the lens of people's behaviors that can be totally contrary to what they say they are, whether it be title or indeed. We just have to be careful because it is crazy out here in these streets. And I always say that. So guard your heart with all diligence. Continue to pray and seek God for the direction that he wants you to go in. And I've heard people say, oh, see, them dating sites, it's a lot of crazy people on there. You could find a crazy person sitting right there next to you in church. You could find a crazy person in the childhood boyfriend or the childhood girlfriend that you had a relationship with, and then it broke off, and now y'all are older and y'all come back together. It doesn't matter. People are people. Now, you do have to be cautious, but let's just be real. You just never know with anybody. But yeah, that dating on the chats and all of that, it's crazy. And people do present a version of themselves that is totally contrary to who they are in person. Can I get an amen on that? Amen. Because I know that's right. I know that's right. Been there, done that. And I have seen some stuff, let me tell you. Seen some stuff. So let me say this to you. Here's a point I want to say about the Christian dating. Technology have gave access, but it also exposed how emotionally unavailable that many people really are. People are emotionally unavailable because of so much going on in this world today. That's why you need to come out. Come out and stop saying it's nothing for you to do. It is things for you to do. It is gathering of the singles. And it's not always about gathering just to find you a mate. No, it's gathering for healing, for discussions, for like-minded people to come together and just share a meal or just share a conversation. So therefore, we got to take our mind off of, I'm looking and like you hungry for a meal. No, be ready to learn to receive, because I have come to understand over the years of my life, I had to unlearn a lot of things. I use that word quite often because everything you were taught doesn't mean that it's right. Just like some gentlemen. Some of them were taught, man, you better not just keep one girl. You got to have a couple. You got to have 3 and 4. Where is it getting you? How's that working out for you? You have more turmoil going on. You have all these secrets that you got to keep. That means that you're lying, no credibility. And I'm talking about people in the church. You heard me? In the church. So we have to unlearn some things. Be willing to be open to change if you desire one day to be married again or married for the first time. All right, let me move on. Okay. Here's my other point. Unhealed people are dating while bleeding on others. Did you hear me? Unhealed people are dating while bleeding on others. Case in point. Now, I got a story for you. I got a story. Like to hear it? Here it go. I dated a guy who was a widow. But baby, whoo, child, my Lord, just thinking about it make my teeth just chatter. Ooh. It was the situation from hell that I will never forget. You heard me? This gentleman, as I said, his wife had passed away. But he used that to his advantage because I believe that prior to his wife passing away, he was already a piece of work. But when his wife died, ooh, Lord have mercy, all he talked about was his wife. Now, case in point, I understand that he was grieving, but he wasn't healed to be dating anybody. Now, it wasn't 1 year, it wasn't 2 years, it was a couple of years in. We get it. Everybody's journey is different. But what I didn't like about the fact of him coming and trying to start relationships with women. And I said women because it's been several times that the gentleman not only dated me, but was entertaining other women, right? So what I recognized about it was the fact that he not only bled, but he constantly compared other women to his wife. He wanted to change you in somewhat of a way, and you didn't know it. If you weren't having a discernment, you wouldn't have recognized it. Now, let me explain this. This person had the title minister blank over his name. So I'm thinking, hey, he's biblically sound. He has accountability because he's affiliated with a church. But nope, he was not healed. He was not delivered. He wasn't even trying. He liked living in the place of Lola, and he got addicted to a story, and he would use that on different women to get what he wanted. So people that are not healed should not be dating until you raise their hand and say, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I'm not healed. Be honest with yourself. Be honest. Take accountability. You ain't ready. If you divorced and you still have wounds, don't date. Don't even entertain it. And sometimes, okay, put a pin in this part. Sometimes people that are going through a divorce, they latch on to other people real quick because they don't want to sit and feel the pain and the weight of now having to have that stigma on them. Now that they're divorced, they're no longer connected to someone. Now you're thinking about the loneliness that you're going to have to go through. And what people do is they latch on, and you're not even healed. You bleeding all over, folk, with your sadness. People don't even know you're in a room, maybe out to dinner or maybe going to different events with this man or this woman, and your mind is not even with them. Your mind is thinking about what you lost. You're on the phone talking to your girlfriends like, girl, you know what? And he did this and he did that. And you're still talking about what happened in the past. I know I might be stepping on some toes, but that's okay. That's okay. Because I was once she. I remember having conversations with my friends all the time, and they never said it, bless their hearts and all their parts. They never said it to my face, but I'm quite sure when we got off that phone, they probably was like, I'm so sick of her. I'm so tired of her talking about the same thing. But I'm that friend that's going to listen to the end. I'm going to be right there. I'm going to be that shoulder to cry on. I'm going to just let you go ahead and just get it all out. But there are times when you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm not healed. I don't need to be dating anybody. I don't need to be swiping left nor right on these social media apps. I don't need to do anything. I need to be still and let God heal me. Well, I think I'll just say amen to that, because I know that's right. And sometimes we don't want to hear the truth. That's why we get a cheerleading corner that agrees with our mess. But yet you're not healed. And so you're bleeding on people because of the fact that you are lonely and you're afraid and you're scared of what your future looks like. I know what it feels like because I've been in those shoes. That's why it feels good to be on the other side of healing. Being on the other side of healing and healed, and we're healing through the process as you go through. It's not a one-stop shop. It takes some time. So just sit your little happy hips down, or, for the men, just go and sit your hind pots down and stop trying to holler at these chicks because you're not ready. Sit down, sit it down, sit down, sit your behind down. And stop acting up. Let God heal your broken heart first. And then you can come out and say, all right, I think that I've dealt with my regrets, my frustrations. and in the loss, because you've taken an L, because now you're on a different side of the coin. You're no longer in the social status of being married. Now you are divorced. Or let's talk about those who have gone through some trauma. Oh, everybody has been through some kind of trauma, one sort or the other. So when you're not healed, sit down, take a seat, and just relax for a minute. Just enjoy the show. Watch everybody else cut up in these streets, get their little rings talking about, ooh, he proposed. And I said yes. Because what I've learned is just because somebody say yes doesn't mean that they know what that yes is going to cost them. But the person that used to be linked up with them, whether they dated them or it's their second or third or fourth, fifth marriage, baby, they know what they about to get. If you watch these social media platforms, whether it will be whatever, which one you like, and somebody out there, ooh, he proposed. Girl, I said yes. Look at the ring. I always think, girl, I wonder what you said yes to. Did you say yes to getting beat down? Did you say yes to a narcissist? Did you say yes to a nice man, a man of God? Because I don't care if you say I'm saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, I'm baptized, all that good stuff. But my question is, who you married to? So be careful trying to date when you're unhealed. Okay, that was my point number 3. Okay? Because this point I want to say, well, my little word to the wise, you cannot build a healthy kingdom relationship while being emotionally living in your last relationship. Ouch. That hurts. That hurts. Think about it. I said it yesterday. You have to let go of one thing in order to embrace where you're going. Because if not, you're going to spew out, you're going to bleed on everything around you. It's not going to be flourishing the way that you want it to. And you want to be in a posture, in a place where you really fully feel free and that you can love somebody new, because you can't love someone still holding on to the past. There was a time in my life when I got married to my second husband, and I went into that relationship and I didn't realize it, but one day the Lord showed me. I had yelled or something. I think I was talking to my second husband. I was putting some trash out or something happened. And when I said what I said, he looked at me and I looked at him. And he said these words. He said, "You're not talking to me," right? He didn't say it in a condescending way. It was almost like he knew by the phrase that I used that it wasn't geared towards him. And then several weeks after that, I went to sleep and I had a dream. And I seen, it was like 2 rings were thrown up in the air. One was gold and one was silver. And I heard the Lord say, "You could take it off now." In my mind, I didn't know I was still wearing the other ring, which means to me, I interpreted that as I was still stuck in the old. And now that I was in the new, which I thought was a safe space, I can release that now and go on into a healthy relationship. Make sense? All right. So the 4th point that I want to make is we have to stop letting the church culture shame us as single people. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. When you're single, sometimes there's a pressure that you feel to get married. You feel almost ostracized. And that makes you run after trying to find a spouse quickly. Even if that means that you're just doing it for the image. My dad shared a story with me, and I was just blown away because I had never thought about it like this, but he was a pastor for over 30 years, and he shared with me how in the early stages of his ministry, he would go out and he would teach Bible study. And while teaching Bible study, he would noticed that the majority of the people that would come out for Bible study was the women. And then there was a little bug put in his ear. Someone had came and said to him, the men don't really feel comfortable with him teaching the Bible study because he was not married. Therefore, it sent him on a quest to find a mate. And, he told me the story and how he went on his journey looking for a mate. And he found someone to marry. But he also shared with me that it was under pressure that he did that. And my conversation with my father led him into telling me that he wished that he would have waited because he was not happy with his choice, because he didn't do it out of the right motives. It was out of desperation. And he lived the rest of his life pretty much, from what he said to me, was not really feeling fulfilled in that particular area. So it's not, we got to not feed into the culture, the Christian culture, that, marriage is something that God created, but you should not feel pressured just to marry anybody. I heard another story of a gentleman who stated that someone pressured him into marrying someone. I heard another story from a young lady who, both of these people are now divorced, that someone, oh yeah, y'all look like a good couple. Ooh, I think he like you. Ooh, I think that one should be your wife, or that one should be your husband, and planted that seed. And because they were in the same environment all the time, they started to believe that maybe it could work out. I mean, hey, I'm single, you're single. I mean, I don't really like the way you chew. I'm just, I don't like the way you chew, or I don't like the way she looked, but she got status in the church. So let me go ahead and marry her. I'm just dramatizing everything, but you get what I'm saying. Sometimes we do things because of motives, because of loneliness. And I made so many mistakes out of being lonely, and also feeling like I feel ashamed because that other person that you may have dated or you may have married is now into a relationship. So now you feel like you're going to play tit for tat. All right. You're going to show this person up. Well, I can get somebody too. That's not the right game to play in this season. Just stand in your truth and stay in the posture of waiting on God for who he desires for you. All right. Okay. So my other point would be, in regard to stop letting church culture shame you into, as a single person, that singles feel invisible sometimes in church after a certain age. They feel like, wow, I'm up there now. I'm like, hey, well, who gonna want me? I'm 60, I'm 70, I'm 80 years old, or I'm 40 years old. My clock is ticking. Sometimes we can feel invisible and get shunned in church by the church culture. I've heard somebody make this comment too, that they had a lot of programs for marriage ministry, but hardly any for singles. Now, they are popping up everywhere, in church. What I'm saying is they may have bowling. Hey, let's go out and bowl together. But single people have a lot of intricate parts to them where they have things they want to discuss. Some women who have never been married before and maybe single mothers, or people who are single don't have any children. There are so many questions and concerns that people who are saved and single feel sometimes that they have nowhere to share the information. So therefore, some people go back out there into the world outside of Christendom and get themselves in a lot of trouble. So that's why we're creating a space for singles to really share their stories and get some suggestions, because we're not telling people what to do. I've never told anybody what to do, but it's just food for thought. All right. So this is what I'm sharing this morning. All right. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down, because, I'm putting down a whole lot of stuff because I've been in these streets for a minute. Okay. All right. So, my other point is singles is often treated like singleness is treated like a waiting room instead of a season of purpose. You ever heard somebody ask, well, girl, when you going to get married? Well, I'm waiting. I'm just waiting I'm waiting on the right time. No, living your purpose now. For a man or woman, living your purpose now. Don't wait. Well, I'm gonna wait till I get married to buy a house. Buy a house right now if you want to. Well, I'm waiting on a wife to do so and so. No, do what you need to do now, because we don't know what the cards hold for us. But I do know this: progression. Life is still going forward, so you can't stay stagnant just because you don't have a spouse in your life, right? Continue to pray, seek God for it, and that was something that I had to recognize. When singles are in a place of loneliness and you're not in your word as much, you're not studying, you don't have a group of friends that are in your church or people that you really connect to, and you don't have that part of it with your relationship with God intact, baby, the enemy gonna play games with you. The enemy gonna take you so far to the left or to the right, and then it's harder to get back. I heard it said a long time ago, the devil, I want to make sure I get it right, but it said the devil will take you farther than where you want to go, and you'll stay longer than you want to stay because of that familiarity. Like-minded people hang together. That's why it is very important for you to be around people who truly want to live the life of being a Christian and being single. It's not hard to do. People say, "Ooh, it's so hard." No, it's only hard when you get in your own way. When your perspective of being single is all geared around because of what you see on social media. You see every day that these people who are the entertainers and all of that, they get married one day, they got all these babies, and then next thing you know, they divorced. The guy's cheating on you and all that other stuff. So to eliminate all that, seek God. Wait on him. And I got to be honest, if that day never comes, are you going to be satisfied? I had to, for myself, recognize that I get giddy inside when I think about it now, because I would have never guessed that I would have felt comfortable, whole, and deeply having that peace that truly surpasses all understanding had I not went through the process. I preached a message years ago called "It Had to Happen." I believe that me getting the divorce and going through the process like a person that's addicted to drugs or alcohol, it is a withdrawal. You go through withdrawals of your marriage. You go through withdrawals of regrets of what did not work out. But there's still a way of escape, and you have to get that from God, that presence of God. He gives you that peace to be like, daughter, son, it's going to be all right. No matter how you feel, trust me, I know how this is going to end. And that is some of our problem. We don't want to wait, and we think that we know more than God does. But at the end of the day, when we go before God, it never turns out right. So being single and saved, I know these are, conversations that truly nobody wants to have, but it has to be spoken of. Somebody has to step up to the plate and tell the truth about it. Is it easy being single, going places by yourself and things of that nature? No, but it gets better as you go along your journey. It gets better as you step into that place. Because think about it. Singleness is not a punishment. And it's also not a sign that someone is undesirable. I had to ask myself, what's wrong with me? Even when I was skinnier. Oh, what's wrong? What's the problem? What did I miss? And, am I not pretty enough for him? Did I not, do X, Y, and Z? It had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with I was not connected to the right person from the first day that I met him when I got married the second time. Therefore, can I blame him? No, it's just a situationship that most of us have had. So stop living with regret, shame. Stop telling your story from a perspective of blaming him for everything or her for everything, because life happens. And now you got to deal with the aftermath. So we got to keep going. And we got to keep pushing. You got to take your own self to go have a cup of coffee and stop just sitting in your car eating. Go inside and sit in a restaurant. I don't know why I'm saying that, but go sit your happy hips down in a restaurant and eat your meal. Bring your phone with you. You don't have to isolate yourself. I've been on this conversation about isolation for a while because as a single person, and not only single, but when you are mature in midlife, we want to isolate ourselves. Just get into a place where you kind of fade into the back of your own life. Singleness is not a punishment. It's still purpose in your life. Go ahead and go to a fancy restaurant, get dressed up, and take yourself out to eat sometime. Go on those trips by yourself. You afraid? Girl, put that, what they call it, my kids know everywhere that I go, I turn on my location and I check in with my boys. I do all of the things. Don't walk in fear and don't walk in hopelessness. And I don't want to paint you this facade or the cliche that God got somebody for you, because only God knows what your destiny is going to be. He knows your future better than I do. But what I do know is that it's nothing better than truly walking in wholeness, having no secrets. Like when I tell you, we all got some secrets. We all did some things we wish that we could go back in time and change it all. Some of those relationships we had no business entertaining. From the first hello, we should have ran for the hills. And for the damage that some of us may have done to other people. And let me be clear, some of our behaviors came from our foundation. Because if we really want to go there, none of us know how do you date? Where's the manual for it? Every family has a different rule for dating. As I said earlier, some of the men that did not have their fathers in their lives, right? And they had children of their own, and then they imparted into their children, man, just date them all. Just do this, just do that. Then you have the fathers who were the pastors and did all of the things and spoke life into their sons and taught them how to date. They still did not come with not having some imperfections. Because you could be a leader in God's house and still be a pedophile, narcissist, or just somebody that's just in a mess. Why am I going down that rabbit hole? Because singleness is a time when you can rediscover what is it that you truly like about yourself. As a little girl, think about it. We're looking for validation and everything, right? Our cute little outfits. When we go out, our little friends say, oh, I like your shirt. I like your bow. Oh, thank you. We get used to hearing those things that affirm us to make us feel good about ourselves. Or for the gentleman, man, them some sharp shoes, man. Oh, I like your hookup. We're looking for that. People purchase cars and different things because it's flashy. Look at me, all eyes on me. We have the social media platform now where men show up, the rappers, they got on the chains, they got on these outfits. Women, they dress a certain way. Some are provocative, some are very nice, looking very, elegant, all of the things. And what do we always say? Oh, that's nice. Oh, I like that. Oh, I don't like that. And for children in kindergarten, if a child says, a little girl say to another girl, I don't like you, you're ugly, that scars a little girl it could be for the rest of her life, because words have power. The Bible even says that death and life is in the power of the tongue, and they that eat it shall eat those that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So my point to it all is this: What are you telling yourself about you in the dating game, in the waiting game? You have to encourage yourself, not be looking for validation. That is what has got a lot of women in beds they had no business being in, because they're looking for that validation. And oh my God, let's not even talk about this particular word I'm about to use has almost made me want to scream. You ever got a text, talking to women now, you ever received a text when you're trying to date, and the first thing they say is, "Hello, beautiful." In the beginning, I thought it was very cute, because I thought, oh, he's thinking of me in that way. It kind of makes you perk up, make you feel good. Not knowing that this thing has been recycled. He done sent it to 1,000 women, like he done did it in one of those e-texts that'll go out to all the 1,000 women at the same time. Like an e-blast. But women who are having low self-esteem issues will fall for it every time. So let's not get caught up in what others think of us. What do you think about yourself? I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm not talking about bragging. I'm talking about a healthy relationship with yourself, to say, with my imperfections, I'm still good. With my quirky self, I'm still good. I'm still loved. God still cares for me. So digging through all of this stuff makes the difference when you are single, and that you don't sit idly by in your life. It's time for us to get truly honest with ourselves. It's the only way that you can get healed. You cannot conquer what you won't confront. You cannot totally be honest with yourself if you don't be truthful about where you are. I had to cry out and say to God, God, I can't believe this happened. I don't understand why did it go like this? I'm thinking that I done already planned my future out. I had all of these things written in my little vision board booklet that I made and everything. And I just thought life would, and I'm like, God, what happened? What did I do? Blah, 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 blah. I know God was probably sick of me. He probably was like, girl, shut up. But then I realized it was almost like a little girl going to her dad and crying and sitting on his lap and telling dad about your day. And then all of a sudden the father turns around. This is in a healthy relationship with with a father and a daughter relationship, right? And then vice versa with the mom and her son. Because I'm talking to both. I'm talking to all of us today. And just being okay with as for me, as being a woman, talking to my daddy, Abba, Father, talking to God. He probably let me get it all out and said, daughter, you're going to be all right. You may not see it right now. You may not recognize what I'm doing in you, but I'm sharpening you. And I'm gutting you out like a fish. I'm taking out all of the toxins, all of the things, all the poison, so that you can be totally healed and be able to speak to others about how to walk this singleness out. Okay? So, another thing that I wanted to discuss, because this is my fifth discussion part of it, okay? Standards are not our problem. Sometimes we lack the alignment, right? Because people being told that their standards are too high. You ever had somebody tell you, oh, girl, at least somebody want to try to talk to you. Why don't you just go ahead and give them a chance? No, everybody is not for everything. And if you have discernment, no, your standards is not too high. That person is just too low for you. I've seen some mismatched relationships and they actually worked out. I know I'm not the only one to be like, how did he get her? Or how did she get him? Because the standards, we ain't talking about always the physicality. We're talking about mind, body, and soul being aligned to what God wants for you in your life. If it's his will for you to be married, because we don't know. We choose people on the pretense of our lust and our hangups and our enabling one another. Have you ever seen a couple that both of them are toxic, but yet they still want to be around each other? Just like that movie, Why Did I Get Married? I forgot the girl's name, but the one always was yelling at her husband, always yelling at him, chasing him around, all in his phone, checking to see if some girl is texting him, all of that. And she was so loud. Both of them were toxic for one another, but they was made for one another. It was a comedy kind of thing, but though you have people who are like that. And see, the difference between unrealistic expectations and healthy, let me say that again. The difference between unrealistic expectations and healthy boundaries are this. Sometimes people don't have no boundaries. And when you have high expectations, you don't let everybody come into your circle. You put them on blast. You let them know what you're not going to take, what you are going to deal with. And therefore, some men think, oh, you too much. No, you have standards. You don't have to just accept anything. Whereas some people will say, listen, you better go ahead because that might be your last chance. That's pretty much what happened to my father. He felt like time was running out. And might I add, he got married quickly. I think it took him like 5 months. He met this woman, I guess a mutual friend from the past, and then he married her. It's crazy. And then he stayed married and he was miserable. So listen, at this age, we're not dating for potential only, okay? Character has to show up too. You have to have some type of, you got to have something going on for you. You just can't show up talking about, hi, I'm a Christian and I go to church. And this is the church I go to. And because you can quote scripture, doesn't mean that you are the one for me. Doesn't mean that they're the one for you. Doesn't mean that they have everything on your list. Now, you're not going to get everything on the list the way you want it because it is such a thing called compromise. But you understand what I'm saying. You picking up what I'm putting down. All right. Being single and saved in 2026, like I said before, it is not for the weak because it is so much that you have to count the cost. Is this person going to come into my life and make me miserable? Because trust and believe, I know a whole lot of married folk that's married and miserable. And you can miss me with that one. I will never want to be that person again. I know what it's like to be in a marriage, a loveless marriage, a marriage that you feel alone in. And it was a marriage from hell. So if I had to equate being single to having a marriage that is loveless and someone who was an imposter, no thank you. I will stay single and happy, not single and miserable, because it's nothing like peace that truly surpasses all understanding. So therefore, we got to guard our hearts. That's why it's so important for us to recognize that you're not alone navigating this Christian thing in 2026. There are people who are really standing for righteousness. Now, I know y'all probably got some friends, some folks in church, you be like, yeah, they single, but they ain't really single. Because I had to explain to people what is the difference with being single. People were like, what is single? I mean single for real. I mean single and not entertaining anyone at this time, as opposed to being single and dating. Because you're single and you're dating. People say, well, I got a man. You're single still, but you're dating someone because you're not married. I don't care if you have a fiance, you are still single until it's solidified through marriage. Now, that may hurt some people's feelings, but I got a man, I'm in a relationship. You're in a relationship, but you're still single until you say I do. That's why it's important not to navigate this thing by yourself. Because when you are in a posture of others that can help and assist you, you have like-minded conversations that truly matter. Not those that can give you advice from the marital point of view, because they're not single. Right? And it's important to have community, because within the community of single people, that's, oh my God, a plethora of wisdom comes from those that are around you that can gird you up when you're weak. Sometimes I used to get some phone calls from some friends, be like, oh, you got to pull me off the ledge. Because just because you're single does not mean that you don't have needs, if you understand what I'm saying. But we have to guard our hearts. We have to guard our minds and get around the community that can really hold us accountable. And then we also learn from other experiences, right? Everybody has their own personal journey, and they can share from their perspective some of their pitfalls along the way to keep you from falling into that same hole. All right. So, keep it real. There are good people still out here. It really is. Some of us have discernment to see the things that need still a little improvement in each one of us. I still have an accountability partner as it relates to holding me close to keep those bumper guards so I don't fall off the rails. And this is where I give my little shameless plug that y'all need to come on if you are in the Delaware, Delaware area. And if you even live in Philly, if you're in New Jersey, take that day to say, I'm going to come out, I'm going to fellowship, and I'm going to get some of my questions answered, And I'm excited to be one of the panelists to share my perspective and to even dive a little bit deeper in how I got to the other side. Because I'm going to leave you with this. My story was so crazy that I promise you, I say it and I say it all the time, that I felt like Diary of a Mad Black Woman was my story. And I felt like Tyler Perry had hijacked it. And the reason why I felt like that is some of the scenes, it took me back to what I experienced. I experienced some crazy stuff. One thing that sticks out in my head was going to Las Vegas. Las Vegas is when I got my walking papers. Now, just hear me out, because this is what I mean by kind of tying everything together and really saying, come on. Y'all need to come out and be a part of, the singles panel discussion. I will link the form that has to be filled out. You have to register for it. It's, I believe it's a free event, and it's on May the 30th. And I want you to come out, because I know I have not been just the only person that have been hurt, devastated, and just totally taken by surprise by some of the things that happened to me. I went on a trip with my ex-husband, and we're having a good time. I'm thinking everything is okay. And I'm not ashamed to tell my story. I hear some of the older seasoned saints, and even some people around my age, you ain't got to tell everything. Everybody don't need to know your business. Well, let me say this to you. We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And not only that, the testimonies help someone else navigate through their messy stuff. And they probably will say, girl, you've been through that too, because there are things that happen in all our relationship that's so embarrassing and left you with so much shame and guilt that you don't even want to. That's why depression is so high, well, within everybody's community. But I truly feel like when you are by yourself, depression comes in waves, because that loneliness hovers over you, because the enemy will make you think that, man, see, that's why you need to call Tyrone. Call Tyrone. But God is saying, no, you need healing. You don't need Tyrone. You don't need nobody in your bed. You don't need anybody talking to you about no kind of sweet nothings. You don't need anybody at this time. You need to be healed. So getting back to my story, I was told, we were walking around just having a good time. And then my ex-husband just looks me in my face. Now we're in a hot time. I'm having a good time walking down, just holding hands. It's a hot day. He just turns to me and looked me in my face, was like, I want a divorce. I was like, huh? And from that day forward, everything started to take a downward spiral. And not only that, like I said, it was almost like I started being taken off of all of the accounts, all kind of crazy stuff. One day I will share the full story, but it was like somebody ripping a Band-Aid off and just let me bleed out and didn't even care. Didn't try to get a tourniquet, didn't try to do anything. And I felt so naked. And I mean, it was crazy. I felt like my covering had been wiped off because, the man is the head of the house. He's your covering. Now I'm feeling vulnerable. I'm like out in the wild. Okay. And when you are in that place, it's a scary place. So whether if you're watching me and you are freshly off the boat of divorce, you may be a widow, and you could have been a widow for several years and you're still mourning the loss of your loved one, because that's something that takes you right off of your feet. When somebody passes away, you're still left with a question mark, right? In the sense of what could have been. And then with a divorce, that's a period at the end. And nevertheless, those two things still leave you with a sense of loss and grief and just so much hurt that sometimes you don't know how to just kind of channel that right in the earth. You don't know how to compartmentalize it at times, and it can take a toll on you. That's why I want to invite you to come out to Living Grace Worship Cathedral in Middletown, Delaware. All the information, the address, and all that good stuff will be in my comments, okay? Because I think it's important. When I first got divorced, I didn't have a tribe of people around me. I had to create that environment. Now, some people are not like me. They're not that person to say, wait a minute, we need some ketchup, or wait a minute, we need this. Let me figure out how to do it. Like the other day, I went and got some crabs. Somebody had recommended, one of my sisters, I ain't gonna say who, one of my little good sister friends recommended I go and get some crabs from this place, and that they had a good deal on them. But I didn't get all the information before I went and got them crabs. I didn't realize that the crabs was live crabs. The man bagged them up, gave it to me so nicely. I already paid for them. I didn't realize, oh my God. While the bag was closed, I kept feeling like a wrestle, something moving. Usually I get crabs already made. But unbeknownst to me, when I opened it up real slow, they were alive. I was taken aback because I hadn't cooked a live crab in my life. But I figured it out. And without them falling on the floor, I figured it out. I had a system going. Why am I saying it? Because I am that person. I am a go-getter. I'm a leader just by my DNA, just how I roll. Everybody's not like that. Some people will sit home and cry and just cry themselves to sleep. Some people drinking themselves to sleep. All right, I'm talking some people smoking themselves, into oblivion. People are doing all kind of stuff to soothe that hurt. You don't have to do that. And we talking about Christians. You don't have to do that. Find yourself a tribe. Get involved with the singles. If you have a community at your church, and if you don't, maybe you might be the one to start one. But until then, come on, I just invite you out to be a part of the Single and Saved Summit. And I'm going to be one of the panelists. So I just wanted to come on this morning. I was like excited. I was like, yes, I'm going to talk about it, because I'm tired of these people who are walking around here that have Christian as a title and not their lifestyle as it relates to dating. Dating ain't for the weak in 2026. If you're single and you saved, that's even harder, because people who are single and they are not living under a standard, right, of the kingdom of God, they're just going all over the place and just being wild and crazy with no accountability. And I don't want us to be like that. And until God will bring you your mate, you got to get whole. All right. So that's my spiel for today. If you liked what I put down today, go ahead, make sure you tell your girlfriends about it. Tell some of the brothers about this conversation, because truly it is going down on May the 30th. It's going to be at Living Grace Worship Cathedral in Middletown, Delaware. All right. It's on Green Street. I believe it's 100 Green Street. But nevertheless, I will put all the information in the comment section, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. If you even follow me on all social media platforms and you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, what you waiting for? Because some things you're not going to get all the time on this particular platform. So come on over, get over there where it says, girl, let's talk life. Talk Life with Vera, because I'm always going to be talking about something that got to do with the shenanigans in my life, your life, and life in general. So y'all go ahead and have a good day. All right, make sure y'all like and share, because honey, we need some help out here. You can be single and still be whole. All right, y'all keep holding on. Enjoy y'all day.